Coming up tonight, PM opens first ever chip mill in Vanua Levu. Villagers continue to receive flood relief assistance and more bauxite sites identified. Good evening, I'm Sandra Assam. 15 years of waiting has finally materialized after Prime Minister Bainimarama commissioned the opening of Wairiki chip mill in Bua this morning. In his speech, PM Bainimarama said the opening of the Wairiki sawmill is part of government's Look North policy, targeted towards boosting economic growth in the Northern Division, and at the same time ensuring that local people are assisted through employment, instead of transporting resources to Lautoka chipping mill. Nandoi village along the Rewa Delta has begun to receive assistance from government. This morning, bags of sand and cement were transported to the village for villagers to begin reconstruction work to homes that were badly affected by the recent flooding in the Central and Western Division.
Fiji News visited several affected villages along the Rewa River today. These villages include Nambua and Nandoi villages. Of particular interest was Nandoi village, which was partially submerged in water, with some houses almost completely underwater.
The main cause of the flooding over here is the siltation in the mainstreams. That he has asked the authorities to look into. Most possibly within this year we will be dredging the Nasali River. That to a large extent will mitigate the flooding in the area. That will lower the water table in delta areas.
The provincial administrator Rewa has also outlined strategies as part of their efforts to mitigate the flooding along the delta.
We in particular have been monitoring this situation here in Rewa because this is the only evacuation center being active, and we visited the family and taking into account the current situation of high spring tides. The Central Division Emergency Council had discussions with the members as well as the community members here with the Torani Koros, and we have come up with a strategy that as part of our effort as DISMAC officials, we decided to deploy some people, in particular police officials from FTG, to mobilize the men whilst we are still in operation to come and assist the villages here, in particular the evacuees, in bringing in sand. As you can see, has been transported from the morning to fill in the wet areas so that their homes become dry and they move back to their respective homes. This is our effort and strategy so far, and once we stand down, our operations are over. That's not the end of it. We will continue to monitor and review the situation and see how best we can come up with some other plans and programs and strategies to mitigate the flooding in the delta.
A total of 5 families are now billeted in the village hall as the evacuation center for Nandoi village, and these include 32 adults and 6 children.
3 more bauxite sites has been identified by the Zinfa Oram Group. This was confirmed to Fiji News by Commissioner Northern Eli Modeida as Prime Minister Bainimarama and his team begin touring the province of Bua.
Prime Minister Bainimarama and his team were briefed by mine manager Mr. Simon on the progress of Vanua Levu and the first shipment. The bauxite is expected to be exported to China by May 31st, where it will arrive on June 17th. Already 40,000 tons of raw material has been stockpiled, while another 20,000 tons of bauxite is yet to be excavated. 60,000 tons of bauxite is needed to be shipped to China. The 3 sites identified are Nasarawanga, Lekutu and Wainunu, districts all located within the province of Bua.
The Director General from the Guandong province in China is in the country conducting extensive meetings with senior officers of the Fiji Police Force. Mr. Liang Weifai was welcomed by the Commissioner of the Fiji Police Force, Ioane Naivalurua.
The Fiji Police Force today hosted a delegation from the Department of Public Security from the Guangdong province to hold bilateral talks to further strengthen relations between the 2 organizations and countries. Headed by the Director General of the Department of Public Security, Mr. Liang Weifei, the 7-member delegation also included the Chinese ambassador to Fiji, His Excellency Mr. Huang Yong. On their arrival, the delegation were accorded with a traditional ceremony and later entertained with traditional meke and songs and cultural dances.
非常的传统的、非常大方的、非常有特色的欢迎仪式，喝上你们的这个亲手制作的卡瓦酒，我和我代表团的全体成员向我们总警监先生和各位同事们表示最衷心的感谢。
China has been a very great development counterpart for Fiji, as Fiji's police force has been sending its officers for training. Guandong province has a population of 93 million people and employs 155,000 police officers. The head of the Fiji police force says at the end of the one-day visit, a new path will be paved for constructive dialogue and realization between Fiji and the Guangdong province on police cooperation. Brigadier General Naivalu Rua thanked the Director General for his country's willingness to support and assist capacity building for the Fiji police force. The delegation will later tour various units within the force.
Coming up after the break, health to begin fumigation once fine weather prevails. Seaweed project expected to rake in revenue. And a second international member of Constitutional Commission named.